patient with severe hypothermia should be actively rewarmed? Is it A, before he or she is removed? Is it B, in the back of the ambulance? Is it C, at the emergency department? Or D, as soon as the paramedic arrives?
At the emergency department.
He said C, at the emergency department. Okay, woo. Got this, dog. Displaced fractures of the proximal femur are characterized by, is it A, lengthening and internal rotation of the leg? Is it B, a flexed hip joint and inward thigh rotation? Is it C, hip joint extension and external leg rotation? Or is it D, shortening and external rotation of the leg? Displaced fracture of the proximal femur are characterized by.
I want to go with D, shortening.
You want to go with D, shortening of the external rotation of the leg?
I believe so.
Survey says. Whoop, whoop. What's the first question? Okay, so hypothermia. We don't actively warm anything in the field, so I see what's correct. Let's go back to this one. Shortening and external rotation of the leg. The proximal femur is the top of the femur, pretty much like the femur notch, almost like the hip. Proximal meaning the very top, closer to the point of origin. All right, we got a 44-year-old man experienced burns to his interior trunk and both arms. Okay, let's do some calculations. He is conscious and alert, but is in extreme pain. Assessment of the burn reveals reddening and blisters. The patient has blank type of burns that covers blank, which is percent of his total body surface area. So let's see, his place of the burns, his interior trunk and both arms. And they're reddening and blisters.
Reddening and blisters.
So what type of burns is it first? Reddening and blisters, what type of burn is that?
Reddening and blisters.
At first, second, and third?
Would be second.
Second degree, also called partial thickness. I'm rolling. Now let's do the percentage. It's anterior trunk. Anterior trunk, I mean, huh? Behind? Not at all. Not trunk as a behind. The trunk is this.
That would be I get that so we breaking it up. Percentage.
What do you get for his arms?
Arms.
What do you get for one arm, actually? I said 9 for one arm, so two arms. 18%. So you already said it's second degree or partial between B and C. Both arms gave you 18. Now you pick B or C to figure out what the trunk, interior trunk is.
Chief Medic 8702. Seizure 3538 Washington Street, Apartment C1. Seizure, Chief Medic 8702. Seizure 3538 Washington Street. Timeout 12:01 hours. Apartment C1. Seizure.
Time rolling, brother.
8700 procedure 3538.
Good. The trunk again, that you're showing. The trunk is the torso. That's the abdomen and the chest cavity. Anterior is the front, the abdomen and the chest cavity. The total is 18. If you split in half, you got 9 and 9. Alright. So 18 plus 18, 36. See how we got that?
Yeah.
A patient presented with a swollen, painful deformity to the lateral bone of the left forearm. You should recognize that he has injured this. What is the lateral bone of the forearm?
D.
Huh? Alright, A is the owner. B is your radius. C is your clavicle. D is your humerus. He chose, he said D. Good. The lateral bone of the forearm. That's your forearm. That's what you check for the pulse, the radial pulse. That's the radial bone. And the inner bone of the forearm is the ulna. The humerus is the long bone of the arm. That's up top.
What I was thinking.
And your clavicle, that's that T-shaped.
Oh,
disc.
right. Okay, the forearm. That's what I was thinking.
That's your humerus.
Mm.
Go down. Lateral. Where your thumb is your radius. Inside is your ulna. And what they got, your clavicle is right up here.
Right.
The strong bone in front of the top of the rib, covering the rib number one.
Humerus, radius, ulna.
And clavicle, that's your collarbone.
Let me take a picture of it.
Ulna,
The
inner bone.
Medic 8660.
Radius,
Sick
lateral
person,
bone of the forearm.
2374,
Clavicle, the
Hayes
strong bone is your
Street,
collarbone.
apartments
Humerus, the
204.
long
Sick
bone.
person, medic 8660. Sick person, 2374, Hayes
All right, a
Street.
section of a trauma
Timeout,
patient reveals paradoxical
12:08
movement
hours.
to the left side of
Apartments
the chest.
204. Sick person,
Assessment of a trauma patient reveals paradoxical movement to the left side of the chest. Patient's conscious or restless as he is in shock and is experiencing severe pain. His breathing is rapid and shallow. Pulse is rapid and weak because he's in shock. The EMT should. Is it A, ventilate with a bag valve mask? Is it B, position on the injured side and transport? Is it C, administer high flow O2 via non-rebreather? Or is it D, stabilize the unstable chest wall with a bulky dresser? Trauma patient, paradoxical movement to the left side of his chest. He's conscious but restless because he's in shock. He's in severe pain. His breathing is rapid and shallow. Pulse is rapid and weak because he's in shock. EMT should.
Hey, ventilate the patient with the bag.
He says, hey, he absolutely right. And one of the things is, you may do all of this, but we know we have to ventilate. Why? What does it say?
Be shallow.
Good.
Rapid,
Shallow.
tacky, and shallow. Rapid and weak.
All right, we got a patient who's unresponsive with snoring respirations. His arm is amputated. JBL, which is just above the elbow, and is bleeding heavily. The EMT should. Is it A, open the patient's airway? Is it B, apply a proximal tourniquet? Is it C, administer high flow O2? Or is it D, ventilate with bag valve mask? Unresponsive, snoring, arm amputated just above the elbow, bleeding heavily.
When it stop the bleeding first. Yep, she's gonna go to B, apply the
He
proximal.
says B, apply the tourniquet. Good. Let's stop the bleeding because you try to open his airway, he's bleeding out, so you're wasting time. He's snoring, right?
Yeah.
So he's getting some type of air in and out. However, you control that heavy bleed.
Yeah.
Then, to correct the snore respiration, what do you got to do?
To correct this, open his airway.
Good. Because if he's snoring, what's the most possible reason?
Possibly his tongue is
The
going
tongue is in the way. Good. So snore respiration is just simply opening. You get the tongue off the back of the airway. However, have to control major bleed first. All right, we got a man's arm was amputated during a car crash. He is unresponsive. He has rapid, shallow breathing. He has a rapid weak pulse. He's in shock. As you and your partner are treating him, other responders are attempting to locate his severed arm. Which of the following statements regarding this scenario is correct? Is it A, if the patient's arm has not been recovered by the time you are ready to transport, you should transport without delay? Is it B, quickly move the patient to the ambulance, continue treatment, and wait for the other responders to recover his arm? Is it C, you should transport the patient immediately, even if the other responders recover his arm before you depart the scene? Is it D, your priority should be to recover the man's arm because a vascular surgeon may be able to successfully reattach the arm? amputated arm during a car crash. He's unresponsive. Rapid shower breathing. Rapidly pulse. He's certainly draining. They're trying to find his arm. What are you going to do?
Let's see. If the patient's arm has not been recovered by the time you are ready to transport, you should transport without delay. If you move the patient ambulance, you keep it with the other. Transportation immediately, even if the respondent of the arm. We'll go with A.
He says A. The survey says. All right, good. If the arm isn't recovered by the time we leave, we'll leave. The problem with C is he says you should transport even if they find the arm. No. All right, we got a patient experienced blunt trauma to the left upper abdominal quadrant. He is positioned supine. He experiences severe pain in his left shoulder. Which of the following should the EMT suspect? Blunt trauma, left upper quadrant. He's supine. Severe pain in his left shoulder.
I'm gonna roll a dice with ruptured spleen.
And you say he's rolling the dice by picking rupture spleen. I say you spot on. What made you pick that?
Because the spleen is over here, and then to the left of the quadrant, and then what is it? He's experienced a severe pain, so I assumed it was like a tear or something.
That's what's up. I'm rolling. You're smarter than I thought you were. But not only that, we know the spleen is in the left upper quadrant. What else in the left upper quadrant?
Left upper quadrant.
The stomach.
The stomach, yes.
Which is also
Right,
down
stomach.
there.
Yep, stomach.
But we know to pick spleen because patients who have pain in the spleen is sometimes radiate to the left shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Some people with pain in the liver is sometimes radiate to the right shoulder. That's called referred pain.
Right.
Even though it's present in the left shoulder, let's check the left quadrant because it might be a spleen injury.
Okay.
Good, but you're right. That's one of the only things up there. If it says severe and ruptured,
Right.
1 and 2. Which of the following patients would be most in need of a rapid head-to-toe assessment? Is it A, 22-year-old man, small caliber gunshot wound to the abdomen? Is it B, 25-year-old woman who fell 9 feet from a roof and landed on her side? Is it C, 43-year-old woman with a unilateral swollen, painful deformity of the mid-shaft femur? Or is it D, a 60-year-old man who fell from a standing position and had small abrasions on his cheek? Who needs the rapid head-to-toe assessment?
So we're gonna rule out B. We're gonna rule out C. Well, hold on, no, let's not rule out C just yet. I'm gonna rule out B, and I'm gonna check out A and C. I'm gonna go with A. Responsive.
He's gonna go with A. 22-year-old person, gunshot wound, no matter the caliber, gunshot wound to the abdomen. It's trauma, it is what it is. So you have to do your rapid head to toe, which is your DCAP BTL, that's to the head. DCAP BTL, that's to the neck. That's your rapid head to toe assessment. This 25-year-old woman who fell 9 feet landed on her side. She landed on her side. You can possibly do a focus exam on her side. Or you can do a rapid exam. But who's in most need of the rapid is the 22-year-old man. 43-year-old woman with the unilateral, you want to do a focus exam on that unilateral deformity. 60-year-old man who fell from a standing position, small abrasion of the cheek, you're going to focus on the cheek. He may benefit from a rapid head to toe, but who will be in most need is A, the 22-year-old with the small caliber gunshot wound. All right, we got a young man fell and landed on his outstretched hand, resulting in pain and deformity to the left mid-shaft forearm. Distal circulation should be assessed at which of the following pulse locations? Good question.
So it's in the mid. I'm gonna go with the radial.
Good. Distal meaning furthest from the point of origin.
Yep.
The brachial, that's proximal. Pedal, that's foot, that's the top of your foot. He landed on his arm, not his foot. And popliteal, that's behind the kneecap. Again, that's the leg. This is an arm. We're gonna go radial.
And the brachial is
Proximal artery is closer to the point of origin. A woman has a painful deformed humerus after she fell. The injured arm is cool and pale, and a radial pulse cannot be palpated. The EMT should. Is it A, allow her to stabilize the arm on her own and transport? Is it B, splint the arm in the position found and transport at once? Is it C, realign the arm to its normal anatomical position and splint it? Is it D, apply gentle traction in order to re-establish distal circulation? Woman, painful deformed humerus. The arm is cool and pale and the pulse cannot be palpated, meaning there is no circulation. The EMT should.
Paramedic 8950, Route
apply gentle traction. That would be a little like one of the splints, right? Or should I stick with the actual word? Apply gentle traction in order to re-establish distal circulation. Allow her to stabilize her arm on her own. Now we scratch A. B, split the arm in position found. Transport. Realign arm circle. Gentle traction. Radial pulse. Between B and B. Let's see which one makes more sense. Split the arm in position found and transport at once. Apply gentle traction.
Alright, you said between B and D. Pick one. Time is of the
I'm
essence.
gonna go with B.
B.
Yeah.
Answer is D. You're gonna try to straighten it out. That's that general traction.
Right. Okay. And I was looking
Just
at
try. If they begin, if they're pulling away, stop. If it's too painful,
Right,
stop.
yeah.
But your goal is to get circulation back to remove that limb.
I was looking at B too. That was my first pick. Psych myself out with that one.
I already got a man was struck in the head with a baseball bat. He is unresponsive, breathing slow and irregular. His pulse is slow and bounding. What should you do? A. Insert the nasal airway to get oxygen filled. B. Insert the oral airway to ventilate the bad diaphragms. C. Administer O2 via non-breathing eyes and elevate his legs 6 to 12 inches. Or is it D? Administer oxygen via a cannula and elevate his torso to 45 degrees.
I want to give him
Alright, struck in the head with a bat, unresponsive, breathing slow and irregular, pulse is slow and down as you should. Insert
Let's go with B.
nasopharyngeal, we say B, insert oropharyngeal, and ventilate the bad diaphragms. Good, why'd you pick that?
because he's unresponsive but he's breathing but slow and irregular.
Unresponsive,
his breathing is
slow
labored.
and irregular, he needs assistance.
He got
We
labored
need
breathing.
a bag to breathe.
Right,
So
properly.
a normal and regular flow and rate. Good. Which of the following sets of vital signs is most consistent with hemorrhagic shock? Like this. Is it A, BP 80 over 40, pulse of 7, respiration of 24? Is it B, BP 190 over 100, pulse of 50, respiration of 8? Is it C, BP 88 over 50, pulse of 120, respiration of 28? Or is it D, BP 160 over 7, pulse of 140, respirations of 12? Which of those vital signs are consistent in hemorrhagic shock? What is hemorrhagic shock?
Low blood, loss of blood.
Good. It's shock caused by low blood. I just lost the blood, that's hemorrhage.
Right.
The shock, inadequate perfusion to shock due to the loss of blood.
Okay, so. It's between A and C.
He says between A, 80 and 40, pulse of 70, blood pressure 24, and C,
We'll roll with
BP
A.
80 over 50, pulse of 20, respiration 28. He's picking A, BP 80 over 40, pulse of 70, respiration 24. He said that's consistent with shock. And the answer is C. So the answer is he's losing blood. If you're losing blood, what are you losing that you need?
Say it again.
He's losing blood. This is hemorrhaging. If you're losing blood, what else are you losing? Oxygen. Good. And if you're losing oxygen, the first thing your body do to get more oxygen
It's gonna
is
pulse,
speed
try to
up the heart
compensate.
rate.
So, yeah,
You
right.
say, let's go, let's deliver
Right.
more blood, deliver more oxygen, deliver more blood, deliver more oxygen. Heart rate goes up.
Right.
That's why heart rate is tachycardia, 120,
Oh,
not
yeah.
70. So hemorrhagic shock, definitely hypotensive.
Right.
Because you're losing blood, oxygen heart rate goes up. All right, we got a 33-year-old man struck a parked car with his motorcycle and was thrown from the motorcycle. He was not wearing a helmet. He is unresponsive and has a depressed area to his forehead. That's skull fracture. Bilateral deformed fingers and widespread abrasions with capillary bleeding. Which of the following statements regarding this patient is false? Is it A, you should suspect that the patient has a skull fracture and increased ICP? Is that false? Or is it B, femur fractures are common and are a common injury when a rider is thrown from his or her bike? Is that false? Or is it C, internal hemorrhage cannot be controlled in the field and requires prompt surgical intervention? Is that false? Or is it D, you must stop the bleeding from his abrasions immediately, or the patient will die from hypovolemic shock?
B
Is
is
that
false.
false? Which one is false?
B. The phrase has been number strict.
He's absolutely right. Abrasions, that is minor capillary bleeding. That's what about. Good. All right, a patient with multiple injuries presents with pallor, diaphoresis, heart rate of 120. He's in shock. We know that he's pale. Meaning blood is leaving the skin, going elsewhere. He's diaphoretic. His heart rate is 120. He's tachycardic, but he needs oxygen. BP 112 over 64. The EMT should recognize that these signs are the result of option. Is it A, the shunting of blood to the periphery of the body? Is it B, increased parasympathetic nervous system? Is it C, nervous system failure and systemic shock? Or is it D, increased epinephrine and norepinephrine release? He says, what did you say?
No, A.
He's rolling with A. Survey says A is wrong in the mud. A, he's pale, so the shunting of blood is away from the periphery, not to. Blood is going away from the arms and legs
Right.
because he's pale.
Right.
He's in shock. First thing anybody does when he goes into shock, he starts dumping epinephrine and norepinephrine in your system. That show fight or flight. That increases the heart rate. That's gonna help get your blood pressure up. The sympathetic nervous system. That show fight or flight. B is your parasympathetic nervous system. That slows everything down. The moment you go into shock, your body dumps epinephrine and norepinephrine. Stimulate your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight. What does it do? Increase the heart rate. Increase the blood pressure. Open the lungs so you can take in more air. Dilate the pupils so you can see more. Those are all effects of epinephrine. That's why we give it an anaphylactic shock. We give them epi to open up the lungs, to increase the blood pressure. Same thing, except your body's dumping this natural epi in there to get your sympathetic nervous system going. All right, in which of the following circumstances would external bleeding be the least difficult to control? Is it A, a lacerated brachial artery, BP 140 over 90? Is it B, a lacerated jugular vein, BP 100 over 60? Is it C, a lacerated carotid artery, BP 90 over 50? Or is it D, lacerated femoral vein, BP 70 over 40?
Well, lacerated brachial.
You rolling with brachial? A?
Lacerated femur. It's the femur vein, not artery.
In which of the following circumstances will external bleeding be the least difficult to control? The least, not the most difficult to control. A lacerated artery, which is A, and a BP of 140, that's gonna be hard to control. It's an artery.
Right.
We know
exactly.
arteries squirt blood.
And that's what I didn't. I should have looked deep
C,
into it. Yeah.
I mean B, a jugular vein.
I fumbled this one.
That BP still 100. I mean, it's going boom, 100 pounds as you get in there.
Which
Boom.
one you talking about?
B. The reason B is greater than D because the systolic is 100. It's contracting as
I
100,
fumbled this one. I knew better. Though.
and then D
I
is
fumbled
the
this
least blood pressure, and it's a vein. That's not gonna be hard to control at all.
one. You ain't gotta pay attention to
Yeah, least and most.
it. Right.
All right, we got an unrestrained driver. It's crushed in between the steering wheel and his seat when he struck and collided with a tree. Assessment reveals cyanosis to his face, neck. He has JBD, and he has bleeding in the sclera of his eyes. The EMT should suspect is it A, aortic dissection? Is it B, traumatic asphyxia? Is it C, massive hemothorax? Is it D, pericardial tamponade?
Can't remember what B really is. Somewhere over massive hemothorax.
Can't remember what B is, so you roll with a massive hemothorax. Survey says. All right, let's roll. A, aortic dissection. What is that? It's dissecting of the aorta. That'll cause tearing pain. I don't see none of that in here.
Right.
B, traumatic asphyxia. Oh, I'll get the charger. Traumatic asphyxia. That's when pressure is given on the chest cavity and you asphyxiate, like suffocating. It could be a car, like somebody jacking up a car and it falls down in their chest cavity, or the steering wheel pinned between their chest cavity. Any pressure consistent on the chest cavity, everything up top is going to start bursting. So you got JBD, jugular vein distension. Whole face is going to be purple because vessels are just bursting inside his face and his neck. And he'll have bleeding in the eye, which is bleeding his sclera. Traumatic asphyxia. Massive hemothorax, nah. Hemothorax, there's no JBD because you're bleeding in the chest cavity. Pneumothorax, which is the collapsed lung with absent lung sounds, you have JBD with a pneumothorax. But with a hemothorax, and that's how we know it's a hemothorax, we have absent lung sounds, but there is no JVD because he's bleeding out. There's no blood to distend the jugular vein. It can't be no jugular vein distension because he's bleeding inside. That's the hemothorax. Then pericardial tamponade, fluid in the sac that surrounds the heart.
Right.
You'll have muffled heart tones.
Yeah. Heart.
You'll have JVD, and you'll have a narrow pulse pressure. That's our Beck's triad.
Right.
Narrow pulse pressure, which is a low BP, where the systolic is constantly dropping. Muffled heart tones, that's the heart beating underwater. You can hear it, bloom, 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 bloom. And JVD, pericardial tamponade. All right, a man was stabbed in the lower right rib cage. He is diaphoretic. Pulse rapid and weak. Respirations are regular and unlabored at 24. Which of the following injuries should the EMT suspect? Is it A, liver laceration? Is it B, ruptured diaphragm? Is it C, massive hemothorax? Is it D, tension pneumothorax? Stab, lower
liver
right
laceration.
rib cage. You going with what? Liver laceration? It's A, so it says. Good.
Diaphragm sit a little higher. And, of course,
Liver is right upper quadrant. It's right under the right rib cage. Diaphragm is more mid, it's in between. It's what separates the abdominal from the thoracic cavity. Again, hemothorax, that's epsilon signs. You see nothing that say epsilon signs. And tension pneumothorax, again, epsilon signs. I see nothing in this scenario that says epsilon signs. Difference between tension and hemo. Hemo, there's no JBL. Tension, you'll have JBD. Pneumo, that's air. Hemo, that's blood. Which of the following injuries has the potential to produce the greatest amount of internal blood loss?
Between A and B.
Is it A, pelvic fracture, B, femur fracture, C, tibia fracture, D, humeral fracture? He says between A and B. Survey says different.
I want to go with A, but I'm going to go with B.
And the answer is A, the pelvic cavity. Pelvic cavity.
I should follow my first mind, right?
Yeah, never doubt yourself.
I keep not doing that, and I'm seeing that's what's good.
Alright, a fractured pelvic artery or pelvic vein, pelvic cavity can hold multiple liters of blood.
Yeah.
Opposed to the femur cavity can only hold like 1.5. Pelvic cavity, all this up, think about your pelvic area.
Yeah.
It can hold way more blood in there than your little thigh area.
I mean, I did notice like big veins right in this area. I know all that.
Despite direct pressure, a large laceration continues to spurt large amount of bright red blood. Question, you should. Is it A, elevate the extremity, apply a tight pressure dressing? Is it B, apply pressure to the pulse point that is proximal to it? Is it C, place additional dressing on the wound until the bleed stops? Or is it D, apply alternative proximal to the injury until the bleed stops?
We'll go with apply tourniquet.
He says D.
I'm going with the injury, of course.
Approximately in the blood injury. And because it's bright red blood spurting there is an artery, not going to elevate the apply tight dressing. No, that's old school. We used to do that. Not going to apply pressure to a pulse point. That's old school. We used to do that. We're not going to place additional dressing. Also, old school we used to do that. You got to put a tourniquet on it before we're going to allow you to do that.
Gotcha.